Hi, my name is Brittany J. Jones. In this video, I will be demonstrating how to apply an applique. I will be using paper-backed fusible web in this demo. Let's get started. To demonstrate how to apply an applique, I will be using the pattern pieces that can be found in McCall's 8377. To apply your applique, you will need some paper-back fusible web. This is what mine looks like that I purchased from my local craft store. Yours may look a little bit different, but just make sure that it is paper-backed fusible web. To begin, you want to cut out your applique pattern piece, following along with the solid black line around the pattern piece. Next, you want to go ahead and prep your fabric. I have a piece of 100% cotton here, and I have cut it out the size of the applique pattern piece. I've also gone ahead and fused the paperback fusible web to the wrong side of my fabric. If you're working with a solid, you may not be able to tell the right from wrong side, but if you have a print, make sure that you fuse the paperback fusible web to the wrong side of your fabric. Now we can go ahead and cut out the applique. You can grab some pins if you have them nearby, or pattern weights just to keep everything in place. I'm going to do the same thing with this pattern piece here. Again, make sure that you cut out your applique pattern piece along the solid black line. Cut mine out here, and I have fused my paperback fusible web to the wrong side of my fabric. When cutting out your fabric, make sure that you take note to your grain line and make sure that you are lining up your fabric along the grain line while you are cutting it out. If you plan to use this pattern multiple times, it is a good idea to keep your pattern numbers close with the pattern piece if they are to get cut off while cutting out your applique. Once you have your applique pattern pieces cut out, we can go ahead and fuse them onto our project. The pattern that I am following along with has me fusing, interfacing to the side where the appliques will be fused to. Make sure that you follow the instructions for your pattern that you are making, and as well for your fusible web. That way you know how many seconds you need to fuse it. I'm going to go ahead and remove my pattern pieces here. Also, if you had any markings on your applique that you needed to transfer, you want to make sure that you transfer them onto the right side. That way you'll be able to see them now. But just make sure that you use an erasable fabric pen or marker when you are doing that. If your pattern piece has placement for your appliques, follow those placements. But if not, you can just refer to the view that you are sewing and just kind of freehand place your appliques onto your fabric. I am happy with this placement here with a little tilt. So first I am going to fuse this one on. So I'm just going to remove my paper backing. Before you peel, you want to make sure that your appliques have cooled. You should not be peeling while they are still hot. Now you can go to your pressing station and fuse your applique onto your main fabric. Now that you have your applique fused onto your project, you can now go and do a straight stitch or a zigzag stitch along the raw edges of the applique. If you have fabric paint on hand, that can also be used in place of the stitching to secure the raw edges of the applique. I'm going to head to my sewing machine and go ahead and do some zigzag stitching along all the raw edges of my applique now. I've gone ahead and did a zigzag stitch with my machine around my applique raw edges. You can also do this by hand if you prefer to hand sew. But once you have your applique fused and you have sealed your raw edges either with a straight stitch or a zigzag stitch with your machine or by hand, or maybe you used fabric paint, once you have the raw edges sealed, you can now continue on with your sewing project. Well, that is all for this video, and I hope that it was helpful in assisting you with applying an applique to your project. For more sewing tutorials, visit simplicity.com/sewing tutorials.